little simplest stuff, it just be like, come on now, you can't be serious.
Nah,
No, no, no.
they don't be playing. Let me play some music while we get set up, man. Yeah, yeah, nah, I don't. When it comes to the GDPR and everything else, man, I don't engage in those activities, man. Turn this down a little bit. Getting set up, everybody. Just joining. Appreciate it. Time's up with Theo Mackey back in the building.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. Like, I try to stay out of that whole like privacy law stuff, man. Sometimes I gotta tell some of these digital media agencies we be talking to in regards to like, oh, we would love to work with your artists and this and the third. It's like, fam, y'all really don't understand, like, especially like the cats out in London. I be trying to tell like, yo, because I think I can touch base on this and I may do it later, but like we couldn't even do anything for him because the privacy laws was just like, it's like, fam, there's nothing we can do for you. Like he literally was just blocked. It's like he can't find anything over his not over but on like any of his fans or anything like that because they just got home.
Right. You go to a whole different country and start dealing with their situations with regards to what data you can access, how you can access. It just gets wild. But people don't understand that. It's like, look, man, there's reasons why the internet is different everywhere you go. It's like, what do you mean it's different? You notice how you go to a different country and all of a sudden you can't access US-based sites without using a VPN? Huh? Exactly. So that's the issue. What do you mean? I was just over in such and such. It's like, yeah, but your Facebook, when you were over at such and such, all of a sudden said extension. They said your application works simply because it has a geographical net. It picks up location, but it realizes your IP was originally stated in such and such, so you're good. But it's like, get on that good old thing called the regular internet and pull up a web browser and watch what happens. Said it ain't gonna be what you used to. But people just don't get it. I remember being at the job, like when I first started on the social media side. Somebody messing around about, oh well, I can't access the da site I'm trying to get into so I can check my insurance stuff. But I'm over in, I forget what country he said. I'm like, oh well, and I'm like, certain things I can't technically say because I'm not in certain positions. You know what I'm saying, per my role set. But as soon as he said it, I'm like, well, that's your first problem right there. Is that you over in such and such trying to access a US-based site without putting a dot. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You gotta love technology and you gotta love when people travel because this is like, your applications work. They're designed to work functional. You know what I'm saying? But just getting on a regular computer and start popping at night, no, it don't work like that. I remember messing around, popping over to the Amazon Canadian store, messing around, clicking on web links. I'm sitting here looking at TikTok like, oh, I want to buy that. Let me pull this up. Every time I pull it up, I'm like, that ain't US money.
No, it's not.
I'm like, what is this?
It's not.
I ain't say I want to go to Canada.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing getting shipped from Canada. I don't know if it's gonna be 2 days shipping the way they coming. Send this back. Where that link at? Somebody show me that link. Let me see the extension. Oh hell nah. I almost got in the comments and been like, you motherfucker.
Fam, it's the price of doing business internationally, man. Yo, what's good? It's your man Hänz and Theo Mackey. We are here for episode 21 of Capitalism and Art. Thank you for everyone joining, watching a replay. Definitely appreciate the comments, which I'm gonna get into here in a quick second. Actually, we can kind of touch base on that. So Theo, I don't know if you want to slide into your DMs, but I got a lot of good feedback from my last episode. Like I didn't. Again, I'm always surprised how many people actually just pay attention to the shit we have going on, but. You know what I mean? But, but yeah, a lot of good feedback, which I appreciate. But, man, I would really appreciate if y'all hit like and subscribe. Like, that would
Most
help
definitely.
me that would help the channel tremendously. And, yeah, man. So I signed up for vidIQ back in, I want to say at the start of the pandemic. Because I wanted to get into the type B thing or whatever. and I was, like everybody else, I was doing the vidIQ, whatever. And so every so often, like if I hit a milestone, it'll email me. So within
Mm.
like the past 28 days, the channel has hit over 7,600 views, and within the past 6 months, we just hit 70,000. So I was like,
Nice.
oh, okay. So y'all do appreciate me running up and ranting about all this stuff. That is amazing. I was just
Listen,
telling
listen, man. When
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's when you got good information to rant about, people definitely gonna appreciate it.
Well, that's what I like about doing this podcast. Is that it gives me one is yeah, it does give me a chance to come out here and vent, which is dope. But also at the same time, like I said, I don't know any other podcast that's giving this information. Not to be that guy to like, oh,
Mm.
I really don't. I'm gonna keep it a buck 50 with you because um so many people want to talk about and we'll get into a couple of topics here, but some people want to talk about this is how you get a placement, or this is how you get placement in a film, and
Hmm.
this is how you know you know create content, which is fine. But I feel like it's surface level, and there's so much other stuff that goes into it. Like no
Right.
one really properly prepares you for the headaches you about to run into. So it's like, well, let me talk about that stuff now. So at least you have no excuse. Like you can't go out and say, oh, I didn't know. Like, nah, you know, you know.
Yeah, man. But you know how they say, man. The game is to be sold, not told. That's the why do you say walk of life that they be pushing into. So right now, what you doing to for the market, it's a service. I mean, truthfully speaking, you're willfully going below the surface to make things happen. So people really got to check into that.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, man. So today's gonna be, I think, it's gonna be a pretty good episode. We have a couple things written down that I want to touch base on, but we're gonna hop around just a little bit. So I don't know, Theo, where you want to start? Because I think you got the same notes I got.
Let me see. Let me look at this real quick, man. I'm really, really, really bugging off that the hustler situation.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
everyone.
Why
Yeah,
hustlers outperforming artists?
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna touch base on that a little bit, but I really am gonna give a real presentation on this because I need people to realize that there's a difference. All right, so let me take the surface level. I give an example. So this is story time. So I give an example. So you guys all know I started my pursuit of music back at Texas State University. I say it all the time. I tell the story because that's the genesis of who I am. I was a rap artist. I was going underneath the name Hostile. I was a battle rapping slash punchline rapper slash neo soul slash R&B type rapper. Basically, I was the Central Texas version of Fabulous, right? So I started with a group of 9 other people, and they were all way more talented than me. It wasn't even funny how much more talented than they were. I didn't start trying to really rap until I was 20, and for them they had started at like 12, 13 or whatever. So they had 8 to 8 years of um of leeway to me, right? And so when I started, I felt that the only way I was going to have a chance was I was going to have to outwork everybody and out hustle everybody. So that's what I did. Anytime I got any sort of coin or whatever, I put it toward advertising, marketing. I put posts everywhere. Even if I had to go to the library and print up like the black and white sheet, like I would sneak off and grab a card and get like the printer, the color printer, and I would print off flyers and
Hmm.
paper and put it all around campus and do as many shows as possible. And within 2 years, um, I became like the goat, like one of the, I won't say not the goat, but I became one of like the go-to artists within the San Marcos area and Austin area just from just outworking everybody. And so
Gotcha.
I wanted to tell that story so bad because artists all the time have this preconceived preconceived notion that if they just stay in the studio, that'll get it done. And the truth is, it's
Hmm.
not. But I will, when we get to that, I'm gonna have data. I'm gonna have examples because I need everyone to understand it's more than just cranking out 100 songs. It's like, cool, what are you doing those 100 songs? Like, there's still a lot more levels and layers and stuff you got to do than just yo, I put out 3 mixtapes this year. Cool. What was the advertising like? I don't know. Well, then that doesn't really mean anything.
I mean, I'll be all the way honest with you. Even speaking to that point, we have a bad behavior on the indie side, even with regards to the quote unquote three mixtapes. What I've noticed artists do for years, and I still don't understand it because you hear it completely different in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They will literally go record maybe 15 songs, and those 15 songs be the project. But those be the first 15 songs they wrote regarding the project. And it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So you mean you don't have anything on the back end, anything to shop with, anything to test with outside of these 15 records? So it's like circumstantially, even if you go out here and hustle this may not necessarily be the best product that you have because
Right.
you're not effectively giving yourself time to grow. So being in the studio is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Recording, writing, processing is an incredible thing because that's traditionally what songwriters do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like you said, you have to have that back end. Once that process is done, you have to know what that next step looks like. That communication, that network, building that loyal fan base, putting it in a position where people are going to shop for you. So when they know you drop something, it's not you having to hit the streets every time regarding saying, oh, okay, who's on the pavement, who's trying to listen, who's not trying to listen.
Right.
You already have a set up group of people who are going to go hard for you, those super fans.
Right. Yeah. It's I yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna make the content for it because the secret sauce is the fans. It's never been just getting a whole bunch of followers. It's like, yo, how many people are about to show up to your shows and buy
Mm-hmm.
merchandise or buy your NFT or your your cryptocurrency or whatever. I think there needs to be more content on how to convert fans, but I think I understand the reason why there's not a lot of content out there like that. It's because everyone has turned into a master class and a course. But that's not for
Mm-hmm.
me to judge though. But we know that's what's happening.
Oh, everybody about to get the money, especially in the circumstances that you can't physically get out here like you used to.
Yeah, yeah. But I will we'll touch base on that. So we do have a couple things to get on. I guess we can continue that conversation of lyrics being used in court. So I could kind of touch base on that, man. Um, how do we say this without coming off like old men? Not I don't want to. How Theo, how do we say this so that boy people don't say, "Oh, you guys are old geezers who are trying to tell all the youngins what they should or shouldn't do"? What's the best way to approach this?
The best way to say it is you got to think of yourself like an author. When you are here writing your music, you're basically telling a story, whether it be fictional or non-fictional.
Right.
The only difference between an author and you who actually lived it is quite literally that. We have the expectation that what you are saying is something you live, not a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Not some fable novel, not some video game that you just cooked up in your brain that just happened to be super dope. This is real life stories. So by chance you go and put this on wax and somebody hears it, you basically confess into a murder. You may have not necessarily put a name to it, but by chance, someone investigates this murder and says, well, wait a minute, this sounds like the details of this so happens to correlate or corroborate with such and such. I mean, then you potentially about to put yourself in a situation, potentially in an investigation that you may not even be aware of, simply because they're going to use that stuff against you and you're not even aware that they're after you.
All right.
But that just be what it is nowadays.
So I'm bringing this up because I want y'all to understand that it's not just us saying it. So if you're in the business, you understand that, or a guy named Bobby Fischer, or you may call him Oracle B, right? He works with Gazi and Empire, and I read this Instagram post he put. He said, "NY youth, pay attention. Now it's the time to police yourselves. Focus on art and figure out a strategy to stay out of the streets.
Mm-hmm.
NYC has no problem restricting what you say on records when the crime rate is high, and they live amongst you. However, and this is where I'm a bit confused because we're from the South, so I think you understand where I'm coming from. He says,
Mm-hmm.
however, Southern artists have been dissing drilling on records for years, and they'll continue to play their music because it doesn't affect their neighborhood." Okay, I want to stop right there. Shout out to Oracle B. Shout out to Bobby Fischer. But as someone and I'm not sure where Oracle B is from, but I'm from the South. I can tell you for a fact, coming from Southwest Houston, I know for a fact that those records had I can tell you the name of those records that had a negative effect on us. I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you, even just going to college in Texas, yeah, you can't say it didn't have an effect on the neighborhood when you had club music culture, but you also had music in there where people talking about Nuck if you buck, you had people talking about shooting up the club, and
Mm-hmm.
this, that, and the third. That entices that sort of behavior. So
Right.
there were a lot of people that didn't make it home because you had smoke, alcohol, and that music. Plus, you had women. You got a lot of testosterone in there and everything else. You put that in the mix. Well, the component is everyone came there for the music and to have a good time. If it was just the liquor,
Right.
everyone just went to the bottle store. Everyone came there for the music and to have a good time. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I wasn't sure. I was just like, I know, I'm not sure what he was saying there. Maybe I'm missing the context. But yeah, he was saying, we have to figure out how to not censor art without harming anyone. I don't know how you can make drill music and not reference that, because that is what drill music is. So I'm confused.
No, I mean, it's a weird statement in parts. I mean, respectfully, I can understand where he's coming from with regards to certain sounds affecting and impacting, I guess you could say, demographics negatively. At the same time, like you said, I mean, it happens everywhere. I mean, you had the same situation with gangster rap in the West Coast, you know what I'm saying, and an incredible rise. It's still out there doing its thing. Like you said, when we had crunk music,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if people don't know, I'm originally from New York, but I don't live back and forth between the East Coast and the South for years.
Right.
So it's like I grew up in the South partway when crunk music was really doing its thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when you listening to Lil Jon and the East Side Boys and you mess around listening to Crime Mob, you know what I'm saying? I'm between high school and college. So you talking about you got anywhere between a situation of gangs, but then you also got a situation of frats. And then you also got a situation
Yeah.
of people just wanting to be in the party.
Yo.
You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
To jump in, cause where'd you go to school again?
Oh, I went to Murray State.
Oh, okay. That's HBCU, right? Yeah. Murray's
No,
not a.
definitely a mixed college.
Okay.
No,
I thought
no,
Murray
Lord, no,
was. Oh,
not
it's
even
not even
close.
close. All right, never mind. Let me
No,
be quiet.
not even close. Shout out to Murray State, but no, definitely not close. It is definitely a very, very mixed college. Very nice college, but very mixed.
Mix, is that your PC way of saying white?
Listen, you're not about to get me in trouble on here, man. It is a very mixed
Listen,
college,
man,
man.
you gonna be on this podcast. You gotta get in trouble with me. You gotta get a couple of DMs from people being perturbed. Um,
Man, I can't catch the alum DM. That is a bad situation.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. Or you must be a donor. So we won't say anything to mess up any donations. I know. Okay, but this is what I was gonna say, and I'll say it, fam. I'm so glad. All right. So there was one time at Texas State. I'm taking it back. Uh, one of the OGs of, so I was part of Black Men United, and one of the OGs came back. He wanted to talk to the frats because this is post Stomp the Yard, and if you saw the movie Stomp the Yard, you know how that
Yeah.
increased a lot of
Mhm.
every frat across, especially black frats across the countries, like roster went up because everybody wanted to be, Theta Nu Theta and whatever else, right?
Mhm.
And so uh with that also comes different energy because you're opening up the doors. So sometimes you may have gotten like the one dude you would say no because he really about the life. You're like, yeah, we'll let him in, and so you let him in. But don't forget, other frats are doing the same thing as well. So you would be at, not probation. What's it called? Probates. You'd be at probates, and then you go
Mhm.
to the after party, and fam, you would think it wasn't. You would think it was Bloods and Crips because like you would see some of the
Yeah.
Noops and the Sigmas get into it. Then you see some of the Qs and Sigmas get into it. You see some of the Alphas and Noops get into it. You're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is gang culture, low key.
Say nothing for breaking a line. That's ugly.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, yeah, good times. I never pledged, but yeah, I almost pledged one time. I came very close to doing it,
oh,
but I decided not to.
for the record, just to clear it up, just to make sure nobody misunderstand, we're not saying that frat behavior is gang culture. We're saying
Yeah,
in
no, we're
certain
not. Yeah, yeah, no,
atmospheres it
yeah,
could look like
right, yeah,
someone could misconceive the kind of thing when you see them, when you see in colors, you see the actions, the behaviors, depending on the different individuals you are like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we not. No, I'm not saying frats or exactly like gangs, but at one point, the energy was the same. That's what I was saying. But yeah, to what you were saying in regards to like, excuse me, frats and school. What were we talking about? Did I cut you off and
No.
forget what we were talking about? I did not. Okay, lyrics used in court. I don't know, man. I don't really have much else to say about that. Like, if you don't like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a way to do things, right? So that's why I like listen to, like, when it comes to G funk. So one of my favorite genres to listen to is G funk, right? So if you kids are not aware what it is, you listen to it as well. So like anything from Scarface up to Currency would be considered, or sorry, P Funk, right? So P Funk would be like DJ Quick, even though it's really more G Funk, or we'll make it comedy. Like Larry June, Currency, Primo Rice, Jay Worthy, that's P Funk. That is play music. That's music meant for you to play in the car when you out hustling, doing whatever. That's the type of music that I grew up on, right?
Go ahead and listen to a Nate Dogg record real quick. There
Yeah,
you go.
Nate Dogg, like Gold Link's first like piece of his catalog. That's P Funk or whatever.
Got some
There's a
CeeLo
way.
Green in there too.
Who?
And get you some CeeLo Green, get them smooth all the way out. You just want
Yeah,
to go ahead and
yeah.
get some music.
I mean, if that's the case, you might as well throw in. Oh my god, I can't remember the name. What's the group he was part
Oh,
of? Not Organized
oh
Noise.
my
That was the
goodness.
producer. Who's that peeping in my window? Oh my god,
Ah,
man, what's wrong with us, dog? CeeLo and CeeLo
it's been a minute, bro.
Green.
Somebody gonna watch. Somebody gonna be on our ass on this one. They be like, "How
Oh,
you
y'all
over here
didn't
trying to put
know?
these young bloods
Not
on,
Dungeon Goody
and you can't
Mob. God
remember?
dog it.
You can't remember."
Yeah,
I'm
Goody
like, "Look,
Mob.
man,
Fam, look when they
it's been
came
a
out.
minute,
Like leave me alone, okay?
man. It's been
That's
a minute."
yeah, that's low key before our time. Yes, we're that young. Yes, we're also that old as well. But come on, man. Like, get out of
Man,
here. Big Gip, yeah. So Big Gip has a cousin, he either has a cousin or a little brother or a nephew called uh Calhoun, A.K.A. Cool Cutter, and that dude
mm,
had a one record that was hard. I don't know what happened, but that record was hard. But anyway, there's a way you can do it, but just going out and saying names of people you murdered, like, fam, I can't do nothing with that. You feel me? Like,
mm-mm.
I can't come out and defend. I can't defend that because there's a point where even for me, like, fam, like, cool, that's your art. But when you're going out on record and you're listing all these illegal activities, well, first of all, if you're gonna list illegal activities, you gotta do it in some sort of poetic way. You can't come out and say like, "Yeah, I killed this guy last week and his friends
Mhm.
on the street at this time." Like, fam, that's snitching. And I have nothing else to say about that, man. Like, be careful
Yeah,
out
that's
there. But yeah, if you going out saying all that, that's all I have to say about it, fam.
you see, the problem with the situation is we've done it for so long. You know what I'm saying with regards to hip hop, but like you said, in a lot of instances with a lot of artists who were more lyrically inclined, they did it in very poetic ways.
Yeah,
It wasn't necessarily just saying, "Yo, Jonathan down the street, he took the L from such and such." You know what I'm saying? It's like a very, very scriptive way that you would say it that made you have more of an authority as an author. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what people forget. It's like what you're doing is penmanship, it's authorship. You're writing, you're communicating through a written language. You know what I'm saying? But at that same time, because you're doing it over a beat, that's what transitions you to a musician, a vocal artist. But your voice is going to carry more than what this author on a traditional sense is going to do in a lot of instances because people are going to listen and it's going to resonate more. You know what I'm saying? So whereas you can read about somebody getting killed in a book and it just kind of phase you in as part of the story, and you just keep rolling. You repetitively hear that record going in your mind that so and so got shot. You start thinking about it. Some people start trying to find stories like, "Yo, is this dude for real? He's saying he did all that? Let me go look up and see if we can check his credibility." I mean, there's people who pop up on YouTube all the time over here trying to fact check and trying to say you are
fam.
or you are
No,
not.
no,
You
for
know what I'm
like
saying? So
it's almost horrifying to see. Like, you almost get scared for the person doing all that research because like they're exposing somebody's operation and it's online.
mm-hmm.
It's like everything's not meant for the internet.
Nah, but
And
that's the thing. You open yourself up to it at the moment you start talking about that stuff. It's like the moment you say I did X, Y, and Z, what people have to remember, this isn't the 90s anymore. You know what I'm saying? Whereas
Right.
like the internet was fresh, new. Oh yeah, things are popping up. You know what I'm saying? We got Smack DVD. You just know what it is. Like, nah, I mean, anything is worth fact checking these days. I mean, we're not talking about the people who are fact checking all the gangsters down the street trying to just call you out. You talking about you got whole dedicated channels to validate who these people are. I mean, I've seen channels where they talk about some of the worst gangs in the world. These people don't pop up
Bro,
in prison cells interviewing these cats. So
yo,
I'm like, so
I was
anything's worth checking.
I was watching one, and I had to stop watching it because I had to keep in mind he was talking about actual lives, and he's talking about these kids or whatever. And he was going off,
Mm-hmm.
and he was fact checking. He said on this time at this date, this record ties into this. This is the this is subliminal this is the baby mama they were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And he's doing all this stuff, and he's connecting it. And I was just like, fam, either you're the feds or
Right.
you're putting yourself in a position when
In some
people start
serious
coming after
danger.
you, man, because you're exposing everything. Because like there's so much stuff can happen when you out here that you don't have time to like analyze everything. You're just trying to analyze stuff in your immediate
Mm-hmm.
sense so that way you can protect yourself. You're not thinking about this, that, this, that, and the third. And if you're putting all this information together, like fam, like that's how you get kidnapped. You might get killed for that. And so like
Right.
just like the whole I just like the beats are
Mm-hmm.
hard and everything else, and I really do like that Nardo Wick record with him, Dirk, Savage, and what's my man's name? G Herbo. That record is
Mm-hmm.
hard, but also at the same time, I have to recognize the content that's in there. It's like, fam, like it. Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about it. Like it's
I will say, you know what I'm saying, as you referenced Dirk, I was actually just online the other day. Funny thing, looking at TikTok, somebody had posted a video basically of him on that Get It Back in Blood record.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying, and making a reference line basically talking about getting it back in blood, but you don't know that's how it's supposed to go. And I'm like, that tells you what era he grew up in, the type of people he grew up around. Because he's subliminally telling you, oh, I handle mine. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you're not supposed to know. That's how the game's supposed to go. The game this is street culture. This is death. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Squid Games.
right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? So it's like this is not something from a cultural standpoint that people should be knowing about, should be knowing that's happening just because it's communicated in a rap record. That's the whole
Yeah,
point. Rap is an art form. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when you utilize that art form to paint a picture of death, people are going to become captivated by how this person died. What type of life did they live? What circumstances led up to this? It's like I told the homies, it's like, why is there so many action films? You know what I'm saying, in American culture? Because from an American standpoint, we are hypnotized by the danger. We are hypnotized by the action. We live vicariously through what we see. Because even if we don't realistically want to get on that roller coaster, we still want to know what the thrill is about. You know what I'm saying? That's just the
yeah.
nature of our culture. Hell, that's the nature of people. That's why we war so much. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you put that type of behavior in front of someone and something and make it sound cool as hell, no wonder people are gonna start getting shot up left to right, and people are gonna start talking about it. It sounds cool as hell to go pop your pistol at somebody in the neighborhood, in a party, whatever. That's what's being painted, and then in the sense that it's being painted, then it's being communicated over a record. But we're not telling them, yo, wait a minute, you just went and did your shit. You should not be saying that you just went and did your shit, because when somebody hear that you went and did your shit and they can tie that in, somebody want justice for that, and it's somebody's job to go find it. They on you before you even realize there's something to be on.
So I have to argue the other side of that as well, because I can't, as much as I don't agree with it, I have to argue the other side, which is, and this is to Russell Simmons' point when 50 was dropping all his music and people just like, oh, this is
Mm,
glorifying violence. And what Russell Simmons was saying was, is it glorifying violence, or he just telling you what his neighborhood was like? Because if that's the
yeah,
case, then maybe we should address why an American is living this sort of lifestyle. But then no one wants to have that conversation. So same thing with drill, with the same thing in Chicago. Like I never respected that whole conversation of black on black crime Well, what about Chicago? And just like, you mean the food deserts, you mean the redlining? Like, you can
Hmm.
actually go on Google Maps and see this for
Oh, most
yourself.
definitely.
Like, it's spread out. People, there's not access to a lot of resources, so you're putting people in a position where it's a crab in a barrel mentality, and it's just grown over the years. So you put in drugs and gang culture and everything else, and yeah, you're gonna get that
Just to
explosion.
survive.
And it's to me, it's basic economics. Lack of
Hmm.
resources, well, that means people have to become more aggressive to get those
To get
limited
the resources.
resources. That seems pretty simple to me.
Right. But here's the difference in that situation though. As an author, it's one thing to tell a story. It's another to position yourself in the story. So, say for example, if I'm as a rapper communicating about what's going on in my neighborhood, no one's after me for communicating about things that I witnessed in my neighborhood because I'm not specifying anything that I've done or anything in relation that someone else has done. As you stated, I'm poetically speaking about the illness that is that neighborhood. But what rappers are doing now is they're literally saying, I went out and in so many words
Right? Yeah.
did
Yeah.
such and such in. So that's a difference in circumstance. Russell's correct in what he's saying. When 50 came out, he spoke with regards to what was going on in his neighborhood. Not to say that he didn't reference a couple of things that he handled on his own, but again, it wasn't in such a way that he was dry snitching on himself.
Yeah.
Rappers now literally are getting on these records, and you forget dry snitching. These cats are blatantly saying what it is. And then you got rappers who are going on live while they do the action. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these cats think this stuff is just cool for the sake of being cool. It's not about survival to a lot of these cats anymore. And a lot of instances, once you hit a certain stage of financial stability in the hood, and it's thinking like when we grew up, yo, I got this, I got to get out the hood. For a lot
Right.
of these cats, it's not getting out the hood. It's just, yo, the hood is what it is. This is fun land, so
I
let's
don't.
live.
I'm not trying to turn this into like a social political
You know,
like
most deaf.
commentary episode, but it does need to be spoken about. And so if we might as well put out this content and then like get to like the fluffy stuff later. But like the thing, I never got that mentality. Like, I was always told, you make money, you move on up, and you move out.
Mm-hmm.
There was never this thing of like, yeah, let me stay. It's like, why would you want to stay around where everyone's getting robbed?
Bro, it's the same thing as that bro culture concept. Oh, bro, you got money, you left the hood, you got different on niggas. Excuse my French, YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
We're
And
told
that same,
this is totally not getting monetized. But go for
but it's
it.
it's literally the same thing like we were talking about last week with the Young and May situation, where it's like people expect you to take care of them instead of you taking care of each other. It's like you get to a certain position, you're supposed to want to grow, but because you're in that position and they're not in that position, they expect you to basically be the same situation they are, the same person, regardless of your financial opportunities and if you want to leave or not. You leave, you change, you being different, you acting funny. Matter of fact, there's a video on TikTok, couple of brothers in here. One of the dudes come in and start talking, but he's not talking in the normal language. All of a sudden, he starts talking, utilizing words that you would see, as they say in the dictionary, encyclopedia, etc., what they call big words. And they like, wait a minute, homie just said what?
Big
They like,
words.
it's all of a sudden they get to a point that they like, yo, homie reading books. Hey, like, yo, come here, da trying to lead a hood. And the dude that's speaking is like, wait, what? What are you talking about? They start questioning him. You reading books? He said, wait a minute, what are you talking about reading books? Nah, man, I'm chilling. Da da da. He's like, nah, I don't understand nothing you saying. Next thing you know,
I
the
think I
gun
remember this.
cock.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said you leave the hood. Next thing you know, you start snitching. And I'm like, that's the mentality. You know what I'm saying? That people are raised with when it comes to that opportunity nowadays. That's not to say that it wasn't back then that people still didn't live in that mindset, but now more so than ever, you know what I'm saying? We're in a position where it's like, yo, forget all that, man. Ain't no leaving the hood. We in here. This is where we is. We live here. We die. Live by the sword. You die by the sword. It's like, nah, man, we on some belly. You know what I'm saying? You get money, you get about. The only reason I'm going back to the hood is to make a move, and then I'm up out of there. Y'all don't know where I stay. You never see where no, none of that. But I don't know. It's a different era. I think we failed somebody out here, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Well, the pop artists that will watch this episode would definitely turn it off and not watch it because they're definitely turned off. Like, they're talking about stuff that's so dark. I get it. All right. All right. So I didn't save this tweet. Oh, So this is something I want to touch base on, and you actually the perfect person to bring it up. So there was a big, huge discussion on Twitter this past week. So producer Twitter is at it again. I don't know if you guys, if you're familiar. There's a producer named Josh, JAWSH or whatever. Um, he's prominent in the producer community, and all he does really is he's posting inspiring tweets, but a lot of his tweets are like engagement tweets or whatever. It's like, hey, I woke up and had breakfast. What are you eating this morning? Hey, I'm playing the guitar. What instrument do you play? Hey, I'm in FL Studio. What do you play? And so people started getting on him because they're just like, yo, fam, enough with the engagement tweets. Like, can you talk about just regular stuff or whatever? And I get it or whatever. But what I wanted to bring up was this engagement, this new engagement culture that you're starting to see all over social media. Like now you're starting to see even people who don't even jump on social media like that. So like, hey yo, I'm about to, yo, should I drink this Henny? Let me know in the comments. And now you're starting to see it across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing like the peak of social media? Are we looking at something that's going to change or whatever? Because anytime I see a thought hit mainstream where it becomes this expansive, where it starts to become the standard, that means that something else is coming. So that's what I'm looking for. But wanted to get your what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's definitely a marketing transition, but at the same time, it's human error and behavior. So a couple years ago, from a marketing standpoint, we were teaching people, hey, you need to get out here on social media, and instead of talking about everything that you do, you need to find a way to connect with them and draw them into you. Because if you draw them into what you do by communicating what they do, they'll stay around longer. That's what you're seeing now. Years of work finally manifesting. Basically telling people on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, hey, you're trying to get that person over there who likes waffles to listen to your music. But they're not really trying to hear what you have to say about music because they listen to you and maybe 50 other people in their DMs about music. They're sick of it. So how can you get that person who likes your type of music to listen? Talk to them about waffles. He'll talk to you about waffles, and then you just so happen to, as we discussed before, give that directional point of conversation, interject something about music, not necessarily tying it to you, but specifically bringing in something they have an interest in, a similar band, something that localizes the conversation closer to what it is that you want to discuss. By the time you get into a good point with them where they feel comfortable enough to talk to you, that's when you start interjecting. Oh yeah, that band's awesome. I really love how they do X, Y, and Z. I actually learned how to do this because of, and at that point, you're not even saying you're an artist. You just gave another point that they would be interested in discussing. You learned how to play something that they're interested in.
Yeah,
And again,
but it's
this is the foundational work that led to where you are right now.
yeah,
So
but
now people are making those tweets.
yeah, but it's one thing where it's like genuine. Like yo, I'm like I'm from 2009 Twitter. Like I'm from like yo, I'm about to go to South by Southwest. I'm about to attend the Big Sean. Well, Big Sean wasn't even out yet. Who was popping in 2009, bro? Oh wow, I'm really about to take it back. I'm about to check out the Charles Hamilton Asher Roth show. Who's in the area? Like that's how innocent Twitter was. And so you would get the responses. Now it's becoming a tactic where like now it's like, hey, should I wear this pink shirt or gray? And then now people are taking it over the top. So I feel like people are, and that's my problem. Like whenever you can always tell when a new scam is coming because you'll start to see like there's a new trend. Because what happened, so I don't know if you guys have noticed, artists or whatever, but if you ever notice, like if the new social, like if like top salesmen, right, or in advertising, it becomes like the new trend. Let's say for instance, polls, right? So when Instagram had polls, or have polls, like you would see a few people use it, and then someone will release a course, and then those people use it, and then the social media influencers use it, and then the artists start using it, and then the regular people start using it. So it's just like this trickle down effect.
Survey culture.
Yeah, so survey, and so you have the survey culture. You got this new thing. So And then the what happens is
But
as
see,
it's
but that's
come.
not new. We've been doing surveys for
Well, no,
what,
not
over
just
70 years?
we're not just polls. I'm talking about just anything in general. Like, what was the last trend? I'm trying to think. Dang it, there was a trend that happened not too long ago. If I say it, it'll you'll know what I'm talking about. Because unless you're in it, you don't even recognize it's happening until you go, oh, I know what this is. Hold on, give me a second. Hold up. Just yeah, keep going. I'm trying to come up with the
Yeah. I
example.
mean, to be perfect, I mean, but it's just it's just as we said. I mean, again, they're talking about something they were doing years ago that they conditioned you to do. But here, what you have to consider is how small was Twitter then versus how large it is now. So the real engagement question becomes how honest and pure can you be with over 5 million people at any given moment? If you have over 500,000 followers, there is no way in life you were pure with every one of those people who started following you. So realistically speaking, the best way you can get access to the vast majority to where you can work, I say work within the algorithm.
Yeah.
Excuse my whole little bubble right there. You know what I'm saying? But how you can work within the algorithm is quite literally doing things that bait them in. But again, utilizing it in such a way that they'll want to engage in most instances.
This is the question I wanted to ask. Is social media starting to turn creatives into salesmen?
Yeah. You have, I mean, but then again, you are always a salesman. This is just making it more apparent. The social media teaches you that you have to sell the product. You created the art, but the art does not sell itself in most instances. You have rare one-offs. Don't get me wrong. You have people, and I know somebody gonna be like, "Oh, bro, you talking about all this?" You have, and when I say this, you have some people who are destined to be great, but even then, they have to put the work in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have one-off situations that take off more than normal. You have those situations, don't get me wrong. But most instances, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be that person who has to some way, somehow figure out how to get your product from point A to point B all the way to point infinity, which is where you're trying to get to your money. You know what I'm saying? Social media just made it easier, made it more apparent, and made it part of an okay socialized conversation for creative to say, I don't know how to do this, but I want to learn and have fun in the process of doing it. Or at least that's what it was supposed to be in the beginning. Now, you know what I'm saying? You're dealing with the situation of, hey, I'm not just a creative. I have to be a small business owner, but this wasn't necessarily the path I wanted to go. So me having to sell all the time, more so than create, is starting to stress me out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
mean, it's that balance.
Yeah, I'm just like I said. I was just curious. I'm wondering when I saw the tweet. I was like, yeah, I'm starting to see like a lot. Like now, I'm starting to see like all over TikTok, Instagram. People are like, yo, today I combed my hair and I threw up oatmeal. Let me know by the time you threw up oatmeal. This is like, and it'll be over anything. Like yo, I sell hair and or whatever, and it's like, yo, what is this is the new thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like
Bro,
I'm
let me ask you
wondering,
something.
yeah,
You remember voyeurism?
why does that sound familiar?
You remember when so remember maybe about what are we in our 30s? So about 17 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Then this is definitely big in adult culture.
Yeah,
You would have these video cameras
17
set up
years ago
and
was
you would
Black
see
Planet for me. I just want y'all to know I am not old. Okay, like I need y'all to understand. I know I'm bald, but I'm not old. People like y'all really get it confused. I am not that old.
and mind you, when I say 17 years, this isn't a static 17 years. This is just ranging based on memory.
Yeah,
But
I was a
around about
teenager
that
17
time,
years ago. Just want y'all to know. Okay, okay,
right? You say you, especially in the adult. This is very big in the adult culture.
yeah,
And when I say adult, I do mean adult films for those who want to play in the comments.
okay,
You would see basically you would see cameras posted in the house, and you would basically see people walking around doing these various things. In some instances, some people would act like it doesn't exist. You know, and they're unaware. You know, so it almost looks like a reality TV show before reality TV really took off.
okay.
And in some instances, some people were aware. That's basically what they're doing now. But instead of it being called voyeurism, which is where that culture, where what you see now generally came from, you're basically just see them doing it, excuse me, as just a point way to advertise. Cameras up. Hey, I'm doing this today. Watch me eat my cereal. Hey, I'm gonna comb my
That
hair
is
with
so
brush such
weird.
and such.
There's a
You know what I'm saying?
kid in Japan. all he does is film himself eating snacks, and he has like
Yeah.
2.7 million subscribers, and I'm confused. Like, why is this a thing? Why are we
It's
watching
because
someone eating snacks?
people love the energy of you eating. They see you talk about how good it is, and
Stop.
psychologically it
Stop.
makes them want to buy.
Stop. I'm ready for the next subject. This man said people love the energy to see you,
I'm,
the energy
I'm
of you
telling you.
eating.
Look, I'm telling you. Look, go check out. I can't think what his name is. The one of the comedians. It's two of the comedians from Wild 'N Out. They have a whole joint, just like what you're talking about. They're sitting there eating, having conversations.
No,
I
he's
remember
not
just
having a conversation. He's just eating.
yeah, people do
Matter of
that
fact, let's see
too.
if I can
But
find
what?
it so you can see what I'm talking about.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, people will sit there and watch that. It generally becomes a fetish. They said a lot of people would look at that stuff, and a lot of instances from how you're eating, how good you say it is, mess around becomes a recommendation of something someone else is going to buy. Like, it sounds crazy, but all jokes aside, it is a real form of marketing.
10 hours of someone eating chips. What is this? This is stupid.
It is, but this is some things that sells. You remember cat videos, bro?
Yeah.
Remember how cat videos ran the internet?
Right.
What was I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want nobody thinking I'm a cat hater. I have no issues with cats. But what I'm saying is some of those videos quite literally just was not what they made it out to be. And then you just have some videos where you're looking at the cat because he's giving you the old soft panted eyes. You're like, oh, and this thing has over 20 million hits. I mean, heck, even if you want to think about it from a child standpoint, if you watch that movie Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet,
Yeah.
that is quite literally how they create an introduction to children on what social culture is. They show Ralph sitting here blowing up on the internet. You see the positive, but then all of a sudden they say, don't look at the comments. And then all of a sudden he starts looking at the comments, realizing he has millions of views, but then he has a whole set of neg culture. And then all of a sudden, right next to it is these cat videos just taking off. You know what I'm saying? It's wild stuff to what people pay attention to. But I mean, even Vine showed us, hey, the attention span could easily be fitted in 6 seconds. So, I mean, just about anything could happen. Anything could literally become magic on the internet.
That is dumb. I'm not watching, and it had the nerve to call it ASMR. I'm not watching someone for 10 hours eating chips. I have a life.
No.
Engagement.
Bro, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at the people who do stuff. That's just like we used to see all the politicians who all of a sudden run people's lives, and then behind the scenes, they're in rooms with dominatrix. And you like, wait, is this dude got a fluff outfit, bent over with a heel on his? I would have never guessed that they were into that stuff.
Theo, you got to relax.
You'd be surprised.
So, some of our future donors may be into that. Relax. Relax.
I'm not knocking them. I mean, hey, they like what they like. I mean, hey, if it make money, it makes sense to me. In that aspect, but yeah, God bless him.
Yeah,
that's all I can say to that one.
Where is it? So I don't know. So the original the article was on Music Business World, but it got taken away. All right.
It'd be like that sometimes.
All right. So let's talk about this Spotify outage. So I was looking into this, and in the music business world, let's see if I can look it up. Hold on. Business worldwide. Come on. Spotify.
Oh, and for those that don't know, what he's trying to search, that link, the Music Business Worldwide, is definitely a publication you want to check into.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to be tapped in.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Dua Lipa. So I looked into this. So for those that didn't know, that didn't even notice, basically if you listen to urban music, you didn't even notice. But basically, Spotify had an outage where artists like Dua Lipa, Adele, a couple of like the major, like Taylor Swift,
Top 40.
We'll say top 40. Top 40 artists, you couldn't access their music. Now, you would think, oh, okay, it's cool. So that should include Drake, Beyonce, Rihanna, right? No.
You would think.
It's only the top 40 artists that were all under UMG. Dun, 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 dun. Hold on. Wait. Yeah, hold on. Wait. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this done, man. or what's the kung kung?
Oh, he really brought it back.
What is
Oh
happening?
man,
Why is UMG getting attacked? What's happening?
that's crazy.
I'm curious. What's happening? So I did
I
some.
can I couldn't speak. Go ahead.
So I did some investigating because I wanted to know why that was. Based on my research, all these artists are under UMG,
Hmm.
and this comes after who's old buddy that pulled his music from Spotify? What's his name? God dog it, country singer. Yeah, Neil Young. Neil Young just pulled his stuff down from Spotify because they weren't paying him right. He's like, y'all gotta pay me right, or yeah, no,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. So he's gone. This is what I'm saying, and this is intentional. This is someone making a statement. I don't know who, but somebody is saying something. I almost have reason to believe this is a DSP. Now I tread carefully because I do business.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but this is intentional. This is somebody making a statement because this is very poignant. Now you took away like if Spotify was down all the way, cool, but you targeted these artists.
Specifically. But I'll tell you this. I mean, on the other side of it, it speaks to our codependence regarding these streaming
That's the other
services.
thing that you need to touch base. Yeah, go ahead.
Like, who controls the button that says your music can play today? You know, remember when we used to, how you say, when we used to work at the fruit stand, and all of a sudden come in on a Sunday and everything down, we over here about who tripped over the cable at a corporate office somewhere,
Oh
off and
man,
who knows where.
yeah.
You know, so this is one of those type of situations. This is like the fact that you're saying, per your research, all of these are UMG artists, and just for that hour and some change, all of a sudden their money was not generating per this platform.
Exactly.
That's circumstantial enough. But the fact that we run into a situation that this had to, I guess you could say this had to happen to show our codependency, to say, hey, wait a minute. If all of a sudden we're not making money on this platform, are any of the other platforms making up for the loss? What is the substantial gap between this platform and my listeners on, let's say, Apple Music or Pandora? You know, is
And
it the
so
AMC?
you're going into the theory that I have. This is just a theory. Hänz
Mm.
doesn't know anything. He hasn't spoken to anyone. Do not DM me. Do not email me. I don't know it. So if you're watching this on a replay and I'm in your office, what's today? Fair, yeah, end of this month, because y'all all go back to the offices, or next month. Don't look at me strange. This is a theory. I don't know. You probably don't know either. But let me say what I gotta say.
But it sounds too good.
But it sounds too good. And this is a question. So I'll pose that as a question. Is it if I'm DSP number 8 or whatever, and this happens, what's to stop me from going to UMG and go, this would never happen on ours?
Man, that's a very, very, very good question.
That's where my mind went. That's where my mind was just like. So there's a story. So there were two different banks in. So there was one bank in Dallas and one bank in New York. So this was many moons ago.
Mm.
And what happened was one of the analysts for the bank in Dallas started seeing dips in their numbers. So it would be
Mm.
like this one dip and then go back up. One dip and go back. It's just like, yo, what's happening? And so he found out that the bank in New York sent some representatives down because they wanted to buy the Dallas bank and create this new location. Dallas said, no, we got it. So New York's went back. And the analyst was like, yo, what if this is them testing their system? Testing our
Mm.
system to see. And so the entire month, weird things were happening. And so the analyst kept running up the flagpole, say, hey, something's going on. And then they had an outage and they were down. Guess who came to the rescue and said, hey, we heard you guys are having an outage.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need any assistance? And it put them in a position where they were so vulnerable that they had no choice but to
Right.
get bought out at an even lower price by the New York bank. So when I saw this, that's where my mind went. Again, just a theory. I don't know anything.
Corporate acquisition.
But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, stuff like that happens all the time. I mean, espionage is real. I mean, it's funny the things that happen because we have access. I mean, it's just like the whole oil situation that happened on the East Coast with the pipeline, where basically these hackers said, "Hey, we'll basically turn this back on if you give us our money." And what do we have to do in this instance, due to the circumstances of us not being able to get that oil to the East Coast? And this happened just last year. We end up having to pay that money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, these types of things happen all the time. It's just not necessarily always public knowledge. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's like it's real. Unfortunate, but it's real.
Yeah, but I like your point. We said, and this is why I was stressing about the whole website thing when Facebook went down. Cause people just stressing out. Not Facebook. Was it Facebook? Where went down? Yeah, Facebook. When Facebook went down and Instagram went down, people just like, oh no. And yeah, all these people coming out. See, this is why you need your own site. I was the one that came out and
Hmm.
said, I told y'all this years ago. I do
Right.
not understand why most people who, and well, we're artist based, right? Right?
Hmm.
Cause we make content for the artists, not producers. Cause producer content is dope. But I hate other producers asking me to like stop going into my DMs, asking me, "Yo, you should do a video on mixing." No, I'm not making content for the producer. There's 10 zillion other producers that make that content.
Right.
No, I'm not doing this. I'm not showing you my techniques and it. I got it from everybody else. Here, that you want to know my secret? That's my secret. Everything that I'm doing now, I'll learn from YouTube or somebody else.
That's the
Yeah,
sauce.
that's the sauce. Here, there, you're good. But anyway, what was I saying? But yeah, I was telling people you need to have your own website because you need somewhere that's gonna house your music. You need somewhere that's gonna
Hmm.
house your merch and everything else because whether you want to accept it or not, one day Instagram is not gonna be the hottest app. It may not be
Right.
today, it may not be tomorrow, but at some point it's not. Like even as much as we talk about Facebook, the Facebook universe and products are
Hmm.
up there, but most people that we talk to do not, especially the younger artists, they don't they're not using Facebook like that. Use TikTok and
Right.
Instagram. Facebook is number three. It's just Facebook just has a lot of people because they caught you in college, and so we stayed on because if I want to know what's happening in my with my family out, in Sunnyside, Houston, or Detroit, or LA, or it wherever, I can just go to Facebook. I don't have to text everybody because like, oh, I can comment on the picture and be done with it.
Right.
But for most youngins that are 16 to 21, they don't care that Aunt Desi and them just bought a new barbecue pit and got a deck. They could care less. They don't want to see that. They don't care. I'll be honest with you. I barely care. So I can only imagine how much they don't care. With that being said, you still need to have your own website because at some point, even the hottest apps become, because we saw that MySpace went down,
Mhm.
High Five, Black Planet, Foursquare got bought out.
I ain't gonna lie, my space was positioned to be better than what it was. The biggest
100%.
problem that they, yeah, the biggest issue that they had was circumstances with people in bandwidth, and the issue with that was you had all these beautiful layouts, but I mean, their whole profile was crashing on the computer because it took so much power. You know what I'm saying, to run those profiles. You mess around, run through 4 or 5 different pages, all of a sudden you getting kicked out. So it was definitely ahead of its time for what it was doing. But that's also why Facebook won. Because again, hit the college market, but they understood we need to keep this simple. They want to interact, they want to do different things, but they don't want to go through all the stuff that they had to go through with MySpace
Right.
that basically made the user experience trash. It was this is one of those things. That's even like with Instagram. Like to what you were speaking, I can't say I was in the boardroom and I understood their exact concept and thoughts, but everything you're saying from a business standpoint makes perfect sense to a company like Facebook, which is why they bought Instagram.
Oh, my bad,
Because
man.
it's
I'm going to need
like,
you to slide over to your left just a little. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no worries,
The
no worries.
boys are getting
But yeah, man, it's
comfortable.
like, but now in a situation, as you said, where you're the top social platform, you already saw what happened to MySpace. You see something's coming. And it's like, wait a minute, this thing that's coming is going to attack a younger more hip market, the same market that we originally came for. But the problem is our market share is becoming older now because the people we originally grabbed, they're growing up with us. How do we get back into that young hot market again? Who does not realistically think we're the cool app to hang with? Oh, is there a way we can get our hands on these guys? Yeah, let's buy Instagram. Cool. By the way, we also need that conversation in the
What
international
Gary
market.
V said, they stole it.
Hey,
He said that on whatever news channel that was. I was like, oh, you got some nuts. He was like, they stole it. I was like, oh yeah, you got some real money. You gotta
it's
have some real
Gary
money
V,
saying
man.
that to the media.
You're right. It's Gary V. Gary V gonna do what he want in that case. But I mean, that's even like with them. Now they got WhatsApp. You know what I'm saying? It's like you own the property for WhatsApp. So now, when you consider communication between our marketplace and other international marketplaces, it's go time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's only one other, I say, international communication application that I know of. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of the name of it. It starts with a W, but that's used in the Asian
Oh,
markets.
with
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Weeboot or something like that. I
Wazam
can't
Weasel.
remember.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like that thing is used like it's on steroids for how they use it. It's crazy. You
Yeah,
know
they
what I'm
got a
saying?
lot of users. I think I signed. I think I had to because I had
But
to do
it's
something
like
for Mark Wynn. Let's see. App
yeah,
in
but just what
China.
they do with it is ridiculous.
Uh,
Like I mean, we almost
WeChat. Not WeChat.
what,
Is it WeChat?
yeah, we no, I think it is WeChat.
Let's see. Nah, that's
Is
not
it
WeChat.
WeChat? No, we something. It's something with a W.
Not Weibo. Look at that.
Somebody gonna jump in the comments and help us out later. It's all
Yeah.
cool. No, that's it.
That was it?
I'm pretty sure that was it with the little eye joint.
I thought it was green though.
Let's see. Let me get on this Google and find out.
Anyway, let me just keep keep talking. It's not that important. Yeah, it's WeChat. You're right. You're right. It's WeChat. Sorry. Yeah, this is it. But anyway,
I was right the first time. Okay.
yeah. So that's like what, like almost a billion user. No, it has way more than how many users? Let's see.
Nah, it literally runs their market. Like they do everything via this application.
Yeah, 889 million monthly active users. Yeesh. Yeah.
That's the only thing comparing. You know what I'm saying with regards to WhatsApp. Effectively, like that runs the Chinese market. You know what I'm saying with regards to communication. Like that's the game, right? You know what I'm saying. But it's like at the same time, we're in a culture where acquisition is the thing. Mergers are a thing. Companies are trying to find themselves in a position of reaching different kind of markets that they may have not had access to before. So
Yeah.
even with Instagram, so if you remember TikTok came out, Instagram was not doing reels before TikTok. What were they
Yo,
doing?
we
Instagram TV,
we
trying to get like YouTube.
there has to be some sort of lawsuit against that, I would think, or some sort of settlement. You can't come and inject something from my UI and think you. I know those. I know that stuff is copywritten. I would imagine so. So if you come out with a new feature, I don't know how they would just copy it and just go along with that. It seemed like that. I
I mean,
seemed that'd be a lawsuit. I never got that. Like how other apps are able to get away with that.
so I can tell you in that instance, we'd have to speak with patent lawyers in regards to how that looks. But I can tell you at a point, so when you talk about market adoption, at point, some things become proprietary technology, basically saying, hey, this is open for business. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of what that looks like, what type of situation they had to walk into, how similar or how different it is comparatively. I mean, because if you look at TikTok from an application standpoint, still nobody really does what TikTok does in the sense of functionality and the amount of tools and things they give you to really do your thing from a phone.
Yeah.
Instagram tries, you know what I'm saying? Instagram, the Reels aspect is interesting, you know what I'm saying? But it's still not comparable.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But in at the same time, TikTok is the shiny new toy simply because of its algorithm. You know what I'm saying? And how it feeds you content. And it's not based on the aspect of, oh, who you're following, except they are feeding you content regardless of who you're following. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna hit you with a lot. Because I have people I follow on TikTok. I ain't seen that content in months, rather if they got ghosted or not. And then all of a sudden, here comes a video that comes through. I look at Instagram, it's a mixture between reels and traditional content. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in those instances, I'm specifically looking for certain things. TikTok, I just let that thing fly, which is why when they said, "They said, bro, how long you be on TikTok?" I'm like, I don't. I say, because I know as soon as I get on there, I'll lift my eyes and I already went through 6 videos and didn't even realize what happened.
Yeah,
So it's like
it's really
they
addicting.
pull
You got to
you
be
in.
careful. It's really addicting. But yeah. So speaking of that, that kind of segue to like our other thing, which is were these new Instagram subscriptions. I don't know if you guys got that email, but we can touch base on that. And people have been saying this for years that this was coming. That
Mm-hmm.
Instagram not gonna have paid subscriptions. And of course they're gonna start with the top tier creators, and then it's gonna start trickling down just like anything else. And then they'll test it, and then what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to hit like a certain metric, just like YouTube with the monetization, right? So once you hit a certain amount of subscribers, whatever, cool. Um, Not a game changer, but definitely something I think all creators should jump on, because if you have the ability to do live performances, it's kind of like the tip jar on Facebook. Like, just set up your phone camera and just perform live. If you're a band, if you play some sort of instrument, even if you're making beats, I would say test it out, because like I would love to be able to monetize this content, because we give a lot of stuff away for free. I would love to be able to do the same thing here.
So I'll take that argument. I will say it's a game changer. And the reason why I say it's a game changer, not because the technology is new, because I mean, if we be honest, Patreon's been doing this stuff for years.
Years.
It's a niche audience. Most people didn't know about it, especially in the hip hop culture. OnlyFans came out, but OnlyFans literally became the same thing Instagram was when it first really got popping. You know, that downside culture, the booty shaking, you know, and then all of a sudden stripping, and then at this point,
What was the
OnlyFans could do what
what
Instagram couldn't, the
was the
adult culture.
concept behind OnlyFans? I could When people told me the concept, before even people told me about the content I was on there, I was automatically thinking sexually explicit content.
Bruh. OnlyFans literally did what Patreon did. The only difference is they became wildly more popular a lot faster. And then at the same time, like you said, a lot of people who were not artists, which is what Patreon focuses on, that creative aspect, people saw that hustle. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't got to go to a strip club. I don't have to be on the streets. I can charge you because they're doing this on Instagram for free. They showing you all this model stuff for free here. I can show you this model plus explicit, and I know you'll pay for it, and I can do this within my own home. And then COVID comes around. Oh, I really got to figure out a way to supplement my income. Yeah, I said y'all still gonna pay for this? Bet. Thing took off like wildfire. You know what I'm saying? But then now you have Instagram. The reason why Instagram can do this and it becomes game changing for a lot of different people is literally because when you're dealing with Patreon and OnlyFans, yeah, it's a paid subscription model, but you're literally drawing people in. You're having to go out there and find those people. Here, from an Instagram standpoint, because you already have this vast marketplace of people who want to be there anyways and can already see your free existing content, not something behind a paywall. If your free existing content makes sense to them, no different than going to the CW app and saying, oh, that new DC episode is dope. Oh, wait, they don't have all the extra shows. I got to go pay for this Netflix subscription so I can go watch, season 1 through 5 before I jump on what's on CW. You know what I'm saying? It works in tandem. You see the free, now you want to go pay. Now, for the artist standpoint, if your free content is dope enough and signifies, oh, they may be doing, like you said, live, legit concerts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're talking about, depending on what you're paying, you going up.
I have an idea that I'm going to. If I
So
say,
mixing sessions about to get charged for now.
yeah, it's like thought. So this is just my brain. This is what I'm thinking, and I'm wondering if I should save this. I'm gonna say it and then regret it, and then I'm gonna start saving content to charge. What about an exclusive visual album that you put on Instagram?
Yep.
Like make
Bruh.
these videos, like these music videos that in that format, and to say, hey, if you want to see it, you got to pay for it here.
So you want to know why that's not new outside of the payment aspect?
Okay.
Guess who was already doing that?
Who?
Apple Music.
Okay. Oh yeah.
They
You're right.
they already had it where you can put certain content there specifically. You know what I'm saying?
But I
From
mean
a visual
exclusively
aspect.
for Instagram.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Apple already had the technology, but they weren't charging separate. In this case, where it does become game changing for an artist as far as income, the fact that you can do it on Instagram behind a paywall saying this is only for my paying subscribers. I mean, because that literally changes the dynamic between here's a follower, here's a fan, here's a super fan. Because now you can start staging tiers. Follower might just be scrolling through your content. They see it, might be interested, might like a photo. Okay. They may follow you, the literal definition as they have it posted on Instagram. A fan in that instance might actively be checking back and forth for your free content, seeing when you post things, liking, commenting, etc. That super fan that you're chasing after is going to be paying for that monthly subscription to see all the stuff that you're going to give them that they can't get anywhere else. And the reason why it's beneficial to artists doing it this way versus having to do it on their own site is because when you do it on your own site, you have to learn all the tools. You have to understand the infrastructure. If something breaks, you got to fix it yourself or find a webmaster. Something go wrong on Instagram, all you got to say is, hey, Instagram will be back up in such and such, or contact the support line. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be perfectly fine. You know, whatever you're experiencing, 9 times out of 10, somebody else is also experiencing it. So there's camaraderie in that instance.
Yeah,
but more importantly, you focus on being a creative.
Yeah, but how often is a WordPress or Wix site going down?
I mean, you talking about server going down?
Yeah.
I can't speak to WordPress. I ain't used WordPress in years. Wix, it's definitely not often. But at the same time, you're also talking about individuals who may not be web developers. So it may not even be Wix going down. It may just be something that they attempted to put on the site, didn't post well. Like I can tell you, when I first learned how to build sites through Wix, I didn't understand how to make adjustments to the mobile editor in comparison to the traditional visual screen. So when I'd hit preview, what would look fine on my iPad or let's say on my computer would look ridiculous on my phone. You know what I'm saying? Because I just didn't understand complete functionality. Now, in that same sense, with someone who literally does not understand web design as a whole, who's coming in this and trying to figure this stuff out, easily can be frustrated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you're talking about trying to deal with the pay aspect, trying to tie credit card services, debit services, transactional behaviors, look at credit reports. You talking about they can have Instagram do all that stuff for them through a subscription model that they take a percentage of, or however they're going to have it set up. You know what I'm saying? And all they got to do is post the content the same way they were already doing, but tell it to post to this side instead of this side. That codependency is going to become like literally people on crack. But the matter of the fact is that they're going to give you the tools to do it. So people are going to say, well, if they're going to give me the tools, why wouldn't I exercise it? My fan base is already here. I don't have to tell them to migrate somewhere else. I mean, it's arguments for both sides, though.
Yeah, but I'm see. But you can still do the stuff on your website. I get, like, don't get me wrong.
You can.
I still think you need your own online real estate. However, I do understand the ability to utilize a platform that everybody's using, but the goal should still be to direct that traffic to your benefit. That's my pushback on that.
No, I mean, it makes perfect sense because of it. I mean, Lord forbid, I don't say this for anything to go wrong, but matter of fact, I won't even say the name of the service. If a social platform
they gotta pay us.
that people utilize goes down, you know what I'm saying? How do you, in that moment, migrate your people over to your space? You better hope that you're popping enough that people are then checking for you in other spaces. I mean, that goes back to saying, make sure your handle across platforms is the same. So if you go down on one side, if that system goes down and you're on another platform that's large and popping, communicating, yo, such and such is down, we're going to be rocking over here for the next couple of days. People who are at least in that conversation on that other platform know to check for you over there. People who aren't on that other platform, well, you SOL until things come back up, unless you have an email or a direct line of communication. But that's why I always love listening to Ryan Leslie, because I remember when he was talking about with the superphone stuff, he was like, man, website aside, he's like, I have a system where if I pull in town and I know you live in this market area, I can tell you, hey, I'm in town for such and such. Let's link up. The most direct form of communication since word of mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But most people don't want to pay for those types of services. Because, I mean, email, don't get me wrong, email is still a great source to use. But the problem is what a lot of this younger generation, and it's funny, but they don't utilize email like how we utilize email until they get into a situation where they have to use email. I found this out in the same way that a lot of cats in the younger generation don't actually set up voicemails. And I'm not saying set up your voice saying, hey, I'm such and such. I mean, they legit will have a voicemail. You call them, this voicemail has not been set up yet. And you're like, wait a minute, why do you have a phone? What if someone needs to leave a message and tell you about an emergency?
Yeah.
Oh, text me. This ain't something that I want somebody to see in a text. I just need you to hear it and then delete it. You know what I'm saying? The impact's different, but I mean, you know, it's market adoption. It's generational.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. I hear you. I still think you need your own real estate, but I get it. But I accept your point in your argument. All right. So it's about
I feel
that.
like I should say thank you right there.
yeah, that's what I was kind of waiting for. He just kind of left me hanging. All right. Anyway, since Theo
my apologies.
Since Theo want to act all funny.
Oh man.
he looked at me. He looked at me just like this. I was like, okay, all right, cool.
But I literally had that running thought, like, yo, is this one of the moments where I should just say, yo, God, thank you.
Anyway, all right. Anyway, we got some. So I was going through different artists that I wanted to play. So one record I'm really feeling is Kyle Perfect, but he's signed to Atlantic, not really. But I know they're gonna I'm trying to monetize this, so I don't want to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up because I thought it was dope. Let's see, so come up Freestyle.
Same person?
No. This is actually artist actually produced a record for last year. Won't stop, but he just released this freestyle called Come Up Freestyle. So we're gonna play a couple joints. Also, your boy Mark De Niro hit me up, say he really appreciates the fact that we played music on the podcast episode. So shout out to Louisville with the Heat. Again, I actually listened to Bryson Tiller this morning. So, and he pronounces it Louisville. He said Louisville. So that's how bright. I like how Theo all of a sudden his face. He said it. He said running down to Louisville. It's like, hey, that's what he said. That's what he said. But you got your independent track you want to play. I'm gonna play mine here in a second.
Let me see what we can pull up here.
With MailChimp,
be quiet. All right, this is Come Up Freestyle by A.K.A. Truth.
One day I'll be up chillin' in Venice. I pull up in the coupe because now my journey is finished. I'm smoking out my mouth because I am the weed's lieutenant. I have to get to flowing, no Casablanca, I'm knowing. No niggas stopping my growing, but steady pushing me forward. I know I gotta be blowing, but reefer's all I am smoking. Nah, I said I'm ballin', tearing man, yeah I'm ballin'. I'm raking up all these buckets cause water is all that's falling. Stop it man, it's facetious, perfect is too fictitious. People just coming at my energy, niggas is killing the vibe, energy staying the rise. You think you stopping the guys? No nigga, you a disguise. Y'all so fake, I can't stop looking at you cause you're so fucking planning. I can't get you walking through your words cause y'all just still standing in the fucking air. Nobody cares but y'all the pandemic. Y'all so crooked, it's awful, but I can't get y'all a dentist. I switched the verse, Dalai Lama universe. I'm so zen, I'm finna flow. I just got that indigo, purple all around me, bro. Purple rain is dropping down my fucking brain because everybody knows what they doing, driving me insane. Knowing the rave, I'm going in brave. I have to be the one exposing the fakes. I'm popping no pills, but I'm popping the sage. taking these L's, pour them in that cooking pot and W smell. Listen, I'ma hit you with that newest shit because I grew with it. Everybody knows I'm gonna blow because I'm doing it. Put me in the cut, no time to heal cause I'm just doing it. With the bitches on the prop because man, I'm just winning it. Renting out the place, I'ma have the white and gold in my waist. Ferragamo blinding all in my face. Got the motors running with and no brakes. I'ma say it loud, I'm proud of my race. Capital is rated, y'all have no shame. I'ma be the best, no, I'ma be the greatest. I'ma have the bust off through them haters. I'ma be the soul of a newer creation. I'ma be inspired by new innovations. I'ma have the crowd feel standing ovation. Got 'em blowing up, no time to be stationed. I'm a new son, don't stare at my race. Got new shades, went blind to the gates. Everybody knows what it takes to attain. What's that there? It's calling my name. I'ma be the omen, so good that I'm chosen, so pure that I'm potent. Everybody knows me, Moses, Red Sea. I was born to be the one that split oceans. So complicated, I'm ancient. Gotta do my diligence and no cheating. I'ma get up on the one cause I'm winning. Ain't nobody checking me cause they sleeping finished.
That was Come Up Freestyle by my man, A.K.A. Truth, out of Buffalo / Detroit. Producer record. Hey, Truth, hit me up. We got to lock in for another one, man. He went off on that one. I was pleasantly surprised to get that in my inbox this morning. I was like, oh shit, that was hard. But no, what's your pick, man? What's your pick for the week?
I got one for you. I'm actually go back on this one. This is your boy PJ Gifter, man.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
what is it?
This joint popped in my mind. This is the Kelly Price freestyle featuring Vory.
Shout out to PJ Gifter, man.
I'm not even going to front. This joint popped in my head like from last week when we were talking about the music. It said this thing had popped in my head. It's quite literally one of my favorite joints.
And also shout out to K Forbes as well, man. Out there in Denver doing this thing. Shout out to Nova as well.
FaceTime me, man. Look out.
He's a bad.
Do music video like that, man.
Is that how we doing it though? I gotta FaceTime you for the videos?
Nah, hell, you know if I was right.
You might catch me in there with your wife, yeah. Numbers going up, don't know the price. Wouldn't give a fuck and do what nice. Oh yeah, good drink, good gas. Top of the hill, how he get here? Big house, neighbors. Looking like how did he get there? Dreamed about it all, and I can name a problem I can't solve. Nigga playing how he get revolved. Ain't no more problems, problem solved, yeah. Fuck on my way, gonna ride the wave. Ain't nothing to say to you. I'm not finna sit here and play with you. Hey, big dog flexing, they know I'm flexing. Hey, iPhone message, they get these
Don't brag about ice cause you see it. Don't brag about my life cause you see it. Lil' mama said, boy, man, you cold. That hoe ain't even anemic. Should've seen the sequence when she spit the semen all on the cement. Delicious dick it down, destroyed the bitches, diva defense. Speak on boyfriend in the pretense. That's her ex though, she won't let go. Boy, your ex go, off that ex though. We had sex though, next so special. They heard next though, I ain't flex though. Throwing that paper, that bitch better fetch it. Never on soft cause the bitch gonna stretch it. Busting off then that little bitch, she gon' catch it. Normally go down but the bitch, she won't let it. Lungs never pump and unlet it. She fuck with you and that hoe, she regret it. She fuck with me and I fuck with a friend. She mad at me but the hoe just accept it. Answer the phone, I don't work in reception. Then follow directions and went to corrections. I breathe from a bullet and bleed is a blessing. Or soon as they finish taping and dressing, I might just have to go send me a message. Wait, I got off track a little bit. Talking about trapping and shit. I'ma get back to you, bitch. It's too big, you got breathing, relax a little bitch. You don't suck on no dick, then I'm passing you, bitch. You only wet off the spit, you a whack little bitch. 4 in the morning, where you at, little bitch? You won't shack with a bitch. I'ma go shacking a bitch. I'ma go slamming that pussy. I don't rap to your bitch. I just get capping your bitch. I don't give a damn about that pussy. I'm hungry, then I'ma get racks on the bitch. You hungry, then you gonna snack on this bitch. Did the beat like the city did Miami. Boy, I just snapped on this bitch.
All that right here, that's my trust, alright. You might catch me in there with your wife, yeah. Numbers going up, don't know the price. Wouldn't give a fuck and do what nice. Oh yeah, good drink, good gas. Top of the hill, how we get here? Big house, neighbors. Looking like how did he get there? Dreamed about it all, and I can name a problem I can't solve. Nigga playing how he get revolved. Ain't no more problems, problem solved, yeah. Fuck on my way, gonna ride the wave. nothing to say to you. I'm not finna sit here and play with you. Hey, big dog flexing, they know I'm flexing. Hey, iPhone message, they get the message.
That's that Kelly Price freestyle by PJ Gifted featuring Vory. Shout out to PJ Gifted. We actually got one in, I think 2017. I did a remix to one of his joints that was released exclusively on Room 380. So I definitely appreciate that.
Nice. Oh, and shout out to my man Trapmore, big homie Trapmore. He's the producer. He does a lot of work behind PJ. He was the dude in the video that was dancing, the cameo with the locks.
Oh yeah.
So with the hat on, yeah, real dope dude, real dope team.
All right. Well, cool, man. So that's it. That's pretty much all I had on anything else you want to touch base on before we jump off?
Let me look at this list one more time. Make sure we ain't missing nothing.
I'm not touching that hustler. Why hustler's outperforming the artist and shit? Cause that's a real thing. That's a real think piece. So I know I keep saying it. I think I'm gonna get it ready for episode 22.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at it. I'm pretty sure we solid, man. We solid. We gave him the real, most definitely.
We gave him the real. And again, sorry for the beginning where we got our dark and everything else, but there is real life that happens behind. It's the inspiration behind all the records, man. You gotta get into it.
Real.
But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'm about to jump off, do a blog, and then call it a night, man. But we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. We're gonna be here same time next week, and we out. Peace, man.
Peace.